Hello everyone. So today a short video on short dry fasting. So of course, information on support for dry fasting. You have all the details there on short dry fasting. But today we will still say a few words. These are mainly questions that come up in the emails I receive. So there are three types of short dry fasting. 16 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours. So how to take your first steps in dry fasting for beginners? Well, it starts with 16-hour dry fasts. So short dry fasting is also a way to really see your metabolic capacity. There you go. If after eating a meal within 5 or 6 hours, you have a stomachache, you need to eat sugar again to compensate because you're a bit hypoglycemic, it means there's really a metabolic problem. Everyone should be able to do 24 hours of dry fasting or even with water without any problem. So not being able to do that means there is certainly a metabolic problem. So how can we see that? So scientifically, it's called a biological analysis called HbA1c, right? So the reflection of blood sugar over 3 months, right? There you go. So it's a test that's done, a blood test, and then we see there's a ratio that's done. According to the laboratories, there are criteria. And then, well, either you are within the limits or not, that's it. So if you're outside the limits, it means you consume too many carbohydrates, and then, well, it will lead to health issues. We also take into account the genotypes, you know, so now there is, well, a lot of talk about it. We are conducting genetic tests. So the APO1, APO2, APO3, or APO4. So there you go. So if you are really an APO2, for example, well, you can really justify a carb-free diet or really very, very low in carbs. That's really well documented. You know, if you are APO4, be careful, be cautious with the ketogenic diet. These are tests that are done now. It's interesting to see where we stand at that level. In short dry fasts, well, there's no problem. You can start without any other, in very short ones, 24, 36, no problem. For long dry fasts, we really advise against it. Well, we rather recommend guidance, supervision for long dry fasts. Do not start long dry fasts without knowledge. You know, we always repeat this because there are people who make mistakes. Especially, well, that happens in preparation a bit during the dry fast, but it's mainly when coming out that people make mistakes. So, of course, there is information in the book. There is information on my YouTube channel, but my YouTube channel cannot be used to do a dry fast, you know. You have information, but it doesn't reflect. I don't explain all the details, the food to take before, what to do during, after. All that we haven't detailed because it's 15 hours of training. Here, these are informative videos. So we talk about certain topics around dry fasting. It remains generalities. What we do here is not the detail. The detail is the training that really gives you access to very practical, very precise ideas on how you manage your dry fasting. Otherwise, well, it's to come for a retreat, right? There you go. So there you go. So the last retreat, well, it's the one that will happen soon, right? So it starts tomorrow. There you go. It's the last retreat of the year.
Otherwise, it starts again in the month of April.
It starts again in Spain, not far from France. And then it continues into the summer with the Swiss retreats. And then we return to Montenegro, to our usual favorite spot by the sea. So those are the retreats for the year. So 4 retreats for next year. So there you go. There are also bonuses for those who return each year. You know, you take a look at the program. You know, there are things that improve, that get refined. We are always 3 coaches. You know, so it's really very precise support. You know. These retreats, you won't find an equivalent. There you go, in the therapeutic power of dry fasting. Then afterwards, there is all the support that is done individually. So these are very personalized programs, you know, that have been really developed, you see, to reach the essence of fasting. You know, it's really, dry fasting is the essence of fasting. Then afterwards, we added a touch, it's 20 years of naturopathy.
Marie-Christine and Eddie are also coaches who have been working with people for many years, about 20 years like me, so they have experience. So we managed to create a rather precise combo, on pathologies, but also for people who want to, go beyond a level, go further than dietary cures, dietary fasting, who want to push themselves, work on other things in depth, whether it be on the physical or psychological levels. There you go.
Well, I'm not going to digress too much. Let's get back to our video on short dry fasting. So 3 types, of short dry fasting. So short dry fast of 16 hours, you can already have some benefits, for example, on weight, on digestive improvement. There you go. But it remains very gentle. A short dry fast of 20, 24, 30 each week will not replace a long cure. You cannot have a curative effect. You cannot have a remission of a pathology. Here we have people who come for long cures. We talk about a long cure starting from 5 days. There you go, from 5 to 9 days, let's say it like that. There you really have curative effects happening. Well, we have seen effects even on 4 days of dry fasting that were interesting. We had cases, tinnitus disappearing. There you go, things on 4. From the 4th day, we really have a therapeutic phenomenon. Fibromyalgia is treated very well from 4 days of dry fasting.
You really see there is a before and after. There you go. But fasting, even short, remains interesting. It is accessible to everyone. Everyone can fast for 24 hours without risk. It's easy. It's simple.
There you go. You just have to skip the evening meal. It's very simple. And then you have quite interesting effects in the long term, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. If you repeat this over years, you achieve an energy saving. There are effects that are interesting. There you cool. So of course, dry fasting goes further than water fasting. With water fasting, you still have a kind of compensation. You want to compensate. You have nothing, so you look for water. You might end up drinking too much. You won't know what kind of liquid, and often you're not informed about the water you drink, so you don't really know what kind of water to drink. You haven't been given the info. So that the kidneys work a lot, they filter a lot, so there is an overload you put on the kidneys when you do water fasting. You don't have that at all with dry fasting. Autophagy activates much faster in dry fasting than in water fasting, so that's well known. The lymphatic system doesn't empty the same way at the same speed. You really have the blood that needs water, so it will go to wring out the lymph to produce liquid. So you have a very powerful wringing of the lymphatic system, so you wring out the toxins much faster and more powerfully. And then of course the fat you have will melt much faster in a dry fast because you need water. So there you go, basically 1 kilogram of fat will make about there you go, a little more than a kilogram of water, a little more. There you go. Talked also in this fat, well, you have a lot of pollutants that are lodged, a lot of things, toxins, all kinds of waste that are in the chemicals in the fat. So you will make all that melt away like snow in the sun. In dry fasting, it's extremely fast. For very lean constitutions, well, you lose between 400 grams, and for some people it's 2 kilograms per day. So there you go. So it's very fast. You have a release of toxins, and that's why, well, dry fasting allows for good preparation for people who want to embark on a long cleanse. We often do a lot of 24 hours, even 36. We are quite ready. After that, it's good to have done an intermediate dry fast of 3 days as a test. Then if we feel good after 2 or 3 days, we can move on to longer, slow dry fasts. There you go. So I'm coming back. There you go. Short dry fasting and long, of course, drastically reduces inflammation, much more quickly than water fasting. Lipolysis, fat burning starts more quickly. You have less of that rumbling sensation when you start a dry fast. It's quick. You don't have that pulling, that hunger that comes. So I remind you that the sensation of hunger doesn't exist. is the transition, the metabolic switch. You change fuel, and that's why it creates this rumbling. But there is never a sensation of hunger. It's good to have these sensations. It tugs a bit from time to time because it's autophagy starting. It's a cleansing that begins in the intestine. The migrating motor complex, so this cleaning we have in the intestine, which occurs an hour and a half after you've eaten a meal. You all have this cleaning process. So it's interesting to be able to experience that. And then there you go. Working on your metabolic flexibility with short dry fast is really excellent. So don't hesitate to start each week to have a rhythm. So, well, I try to have at least a 24-hour rhythm per week. That's a rhythm. Then, well, I'm flexible. I can quickly start a long dry fast without too many problems. There you go. So in a dry fast, autophagy activates much more quickly, 2 to 3 times faster than water fasting. The tissues deflate much faster. Digestion in dry fasting stops very quickly. So you no longer have those digestive juices that are maintained like in water fasting. Well, you still have, there you go, the juices that are maintained. So there you go. It's not a total rest for the body. So what we seek during dry fasting is there you go. It's the quintessence. It's complete rest to mobilize the maximum energy to work on detoxification and regeneration. These are all the principles of fasting. So dry fasting, we are on a pure integral dry fast. Like, well, in our practices, the mojos who do their fasting for 3 months, they don't have a water fountain next to them. They don't have a juicer. They don't have a coffee maker. They have nothing at all. They do dry fasting, So they embark, for several months, So, we have that. We also have all the religions, we have religions that talk a lot about dry fasting, short, of course. But you see, dry fasting is not a last-minute invention. It dates back quite a number of years. So there you go. We, as human beings, are equipped to dive into it without any problem, and even more so for very short durations. I really recommend it for people who might have health issues. Start with 16 hours, 24, 36. After, it's individual. I can't give a. There are a lot of people, who ask us things on YouTube. I don't know the people, so we can't give personalized advice. To give personalized advice, you have to see the person. Either we see them in a retreat or we see them in a consultation. It lasts. You see, we need to understand the person, know how they function to give them the best precise advice. You see, there are no general tips, right? That doesn't exist. Similarly, there are general ideas, but each person has their specificities that must be considered, and then we can adapt according to the person. So with dry fasting, well, the immune system reorganizes more quickly the types of lymphocytes that are secreted. So that's lymphocyte typing. It's a very specialized analysis that shows you where you stand in terms of your immunity. It's quite specialized as an analysis, but dry fasting, in any case, will improve the immune system because it will repair the intestine. So once you repair the intestine, you assimilate everything you eat much better, So that's really where it opens up. So people who have deficiencies, who are anemic, who have assimilation problems, after a dry fasting cure, you really see a strong improvement. You have a recovery of your digestive organs that goes really well. There you go. Dry fasting, well, it's as if the body, it's a hormetic process. We talk a lot about hormesis, about cold, about I don't know, saunas, about there you go, breathing, whatever, all that. There you go, fasting. We talk a little about it, but there you go. But the hormetic therapy, if you will, which will push the law of hormesis, the capacity for adaptation. There you go, in all these, there you go, these disciplines.
Dry fasting is number one, but I have never seen anyone talk about it. Well, they talk about fasting like that, intermittent fasting.
But in terms of effectiveness, if you want to stimulate your metabolic capacity, your adaptability, your flexibility, dry fasting is really the number one discipline to work on your metabolic flexibility. And then there you go. Your general condition, your physical condition, your systems, your organs, you put them in significant difficulty. And afterward, you have a very significant return of recovery and regeneration that you do not get in the cold or in the heat.
There you go. You take someone with Lyme disease, an autoimmune disease, pain, fibromyalgia everywhere. You have them do cold therapy for 2 years, and sure, they will improve, but never as quickly as with dry fasting. A dry fast, you have there you go, a capacity for adaptation to the phenomenon of the difficulty that is inflicted on you. Then afterward, a repair that is proportional. So the more difficult it is, the stronger it repairs afterward, and the more it cleanses as well. So regarding the laws of hormesis, dry fasting is number one. We should put it as number one, talk about it, because no one talks about it actually. People don't experiment, so people who talk about hormesis on YouTube in general haven't experimented, might not even know about dry fasting. I don't know if they've heard of it, but well, there you go. It's like I always say, a somewhat taboo subject. We're not going to talk about it too much, but it remains number one in terms of tissue repair, organ regeneration. We really have a spectacular effect on Lyme disease. You saw it. Now we have no doubt, we really have quite significant effectiveness on Lyme disease. You really see a result that happens, that takes place from the first treatment. It's quick. In 1 week, you have the result. There is currently no therapy capable of bringing you to, well, really a strong improvement in 1 week like dry fasting does, There you go.
So there you go. Dry fasting pushes you. I have to mobilize, save my resources intelligently.
So dry fasting is short. It's a very good metabolic test. We do 16, 24, or 36 to see where we stand. And if we're not able to handle these 24, 36 hours, well, we know there's an insulin problem. Of insulin rising too much, we are no longer burning fat. We can no longer achieve ketosis. We can no longer achieve autophagy. So there is a metabolic problem that needs to be considered. So dry fasting is a very good test. You can do it, there you go. So there is no failure. There is no, I can't do it. It's dry fasting. It's a method where we progress, where we train, and then we achieve a result with work. There are no miracles. There you go. So there you go. So also, it's a sign also that there you go. If you are not able to do that, it's because your pancreas also, there is unstable blood sugar. So the pancreas works too much. So it uses too much sugar. There you go. We started with a model that was truncated, 30, 40, 50 years ago on a carbohydrate model. 50% carbohydrate intake in the diet is madness. We are not made to consume carbohydrates like that. It's way too much. And it leads to all the diseases of civilization. And then there are all the sales of medications that are made, which have been studied to make money behind it. So all of this is manipulated. We are not made to eat that many carbohydrates. So you need to put into perspective the carbohydrate intake that you have. Your pancreas is going like a gun. You need to stay within proportional norms. There's an order when you consume food. There are things to know when you do that. There you go. So if you have hyperinsulinemia, you can't burn fat. Lipolysis, fat burning doesn't happen. So you never enter that state. Little autophagy. There you go. So working on metabolic flexibility is the key that dry fasting provides. There you go. So what the initial mechanisms of dry fasting do, what short dry fasting activates, is the reduction of insulin. We calm the nervous system, activate lipolysis, which is the burning of fats, and we have more stable and constant energy throughout the day if we do this. I always repeat, but autophagy accelerates. Cellular cleaning starts very early in the absence of water. The mitochondria too, so they are the energy factories. They repair themselves much more easily when you do regular dry fasting. Each week you do this, then there is a very intelligent phenomenon. Of course, people say, yeah, there is dehydration. Know that there is a hormone called the antidiuretic hormone, which is called ADH. And then this hormone, as soon as we start lacking water, it begins to limit water loss. It recycles metabolic water from lipolysis, thus optimizing kidney function. This is well documented by analysis, scientific studies.
So it's an adaptive, hormetic, natural, and healthy response that the body has planned to function. So we start conserving water as soon as this hormone arrives. So we are perfectly equipped to handle dry fasts. Short and long hand, so reduction of inflammation, as we said, accelerated lymphatic drainage, or the lymphatic system empties faster, as we have seen.
So we switch from storage mode to regeneration mode during dry fasting. There you go. So you can safely start short dry fasts. Of course, we still pay attention to what we eat a little beforehand.
Although I don't know either, there you go. You shouldn't make too many mistakes. I don't recommend having meals that are too heavy before or after. Although in a dry fasting can be used to treat indigestion. If you've had a big meal, you do a dry fast afterward, it recovers very, very quickly. There you go. But in principle, we try not to have too gargantuan, too large meals over 24 hours. There you go. So here are the mistakes to avoid. Do not compare yourself to others. People who are very experienced with dry fasting, do not look at what they do. Never start with a long dry fast. That's really, well, I don't want to name names, but, well, there are people who call themselves professionals but make mistakes. There are things happening that are not professional. You know, we go gradually. We increase the dry fast in a short manner. We go through stages, and that's how we progress in the method. Do not do dry fasting if you are addicted to carbohydrates. We clearly see it with fruitarians, big fruit eaters, people who consume a lot of juice, a lot of fruits, vegetables, all that. It's not my cup of tea, because that still leads to hyperglycemia, and then it drops afterward. And then, of course, the lesions, we are well made, but there are still things that are not necessarily healthy, including juices. They cool the body a lot. Too much juice, we are not made to consume. Human beings are not made to consume juices. We didn't have juice extractors. We weren't born with that. If it's kept moderate, with vegetables intelligently chosen, not too much oxalate, not too many anti-nutrients, it can be discussed, but it must remain reasonable, really very reasonable. So there you go. Do not drink too much before a dry fast. It's completely pointless. Anyway, you're going to drink, you work, and then you won't hydrate more. So it's totally useless. So there you go. And then it stresses the kidney, etc. So there you have it. So short dry fasts, you can start directly with this method, practice, progress. And then it prepares well for the long dry fast for people who want embark on the long one. If you have good practice with short dry fasting, you will be comfortable. So I know we will certainly improve chronic pain, autoimmune issues, etc. We will work on the lymphatic cleansing on pains like that. But indeed, for the curative effects, you have to move to the next stage. It has become a section. Then there you have effects that can be expected, but I don't know what. There are still benefits if you do it regularly. It's easy. You will reduce inflammation. You will have more mental clarity. Digestion improves. There you go. You will breathe better emotionally. You will feel lighter. That's interesting. So there you go. There you go. It's not a I would say it doesn't replace a long treatment, but I don't know what. It's still worth doing it. So it's accessible. It's easy for everyone if we do it intelligently or consciously. That's all for today, and see you soon for another video.